Hope all is well with you. As you can see behind me, here's my coffee bar. Here's the first thing you need to ask yourself. What type of coffee drinker are you? Are you a pour over? Are you a Mr. Coffee type of person? Are you an espresso drinker? What coffee drinker are you currently? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. That will dictate a lot of the gear that we get, materials that we get, the way we set up our coffee bar. Me in particular, mainly pour over type of coffee drinker. I love Hario V60s. I love other different type of pour overs. Sometimes I'll delve into the immersion brew. But for the most part, I do have most of them. I do have an espresso machine that I like and love. And me selecting all this gear give me the ability to have a different perspective about your coffee bar. Other thing that you would probably ask is like, do you really need a coffee bar? Most people don't, but if you're a coffee drinker, you like to express yourself even more so than just having it on a counter, kitchen counter, and you're making your cup of coffee, you move on with your day. But if you want to do experiment, play around with different things, or you just want it to be your own dedicated space for your hobby, then I believe a coffee bar is what you should strive for, go after, and to implement into your daily brews. So with that being said, I'm going to get out the way, and I do want to show you my coffee bar. Here's my coffee bar. My coffee bar, let's go ahead and get some measurements real quick. And as you can see, this is a dedicated space for this coffee bar. You may not have that luxury, but this coffee bar is 5 feet long, and then the height at waist level is about 38 inches. The depth of it is 24 inches. Bar may be a little extreme than what you would think that you would probably need in a coffee bar, but I like the size of it because I'm able to accommodate all the things that are on it. Some of the things that are very important to me and that I would like you to take into consideration is like, okay, water. What do you do with water? Are you just gonna go to the kitchen and just boil the water, or are you gonna have a dedicated kettle? Here's my kettle right here. This is the one I'm currently using. I've been using this kettle for about 7, 8, 9 years, something like that. It does a good job, so there's no real need for me to actually upgrade. And the next thing that I wanted to get was a dedicated coffee grinder, as you can see right there. The coffee grinder does a really good job for the most part, and I'm happy with it. But as you can see, also I have a couple hand grinders that I'm testing out right now. And then one of the things that I wanted to delve into a little bit more, as you can see on the left side right here, is an espresso machine, Olympia Cremina espresso machine. And I also have a espresso grinder, which more than likely will be replaced with this right here. And then I have a couple more things that are extremely critical for me to make my cup of coffee. I have a pitcher that I use for espresso, and it comes in handy whenever I want to put the old coffee on top to let it drain out fully. And I also use this for espresso, for cooling up, heating up the water, and also just using it as reserve, okay? So the other things I have in this compartment right here are some filters. So I have a place where I have my coffee filters. I'm a really big fan of actually using paper filters when you do your pour over. Some people or you may like not having a filter, so this may not be a big issue for you. But those are some of the things that you can take in consideration when you go about formulating your coffee bar. And that's the beauty of all this. Is like, what do I like? What do I want to do with my coffee bar? And those are the questions that you need to start asking yourself. Get ideas from either me, from other places online, from magazines, from your favorite coffee shop. Kind of getting ideas about your bar the way you want it to be. Because you're the home barista. You're the one who's in control of this situation, okay? So I have my refractometer because I'm a geek and crazy person. I have some more paper filters. I have an extra scale. Of course, do these YouTube videos. So this scale is for those YouTube videos that I need a scale that I don't want to move my dedicated scale. This is also a Bonavita scale right here to the right. And then I have some other gear in the back. You see a Hario V60 switch. You also see another cup that holds my either my scoop or also my stirrer. And for me, again, I am a specialty type of person. So this type of gear is extremely important to me because it lets me be able to replicate the different recipes that I have that I'm going through. And you're probably going through that too. You're like, okay, yeah, I do that too. I have a scale. These are some of the fundamental things that you will probably want. But again, it still goes back to, who are you as a coffee drinker? What do you truly, really care about? Even though I'm not that big of a person on espresso, it was very important for me to get something more my speed, more my style. So that's why I went with this old school Olympia Cremina right here. And as you can also see, I have different instruments that I need in order for me to make a good espresso shot. I also have a funnel right here to help me pour the water in. Is that this stuff will constantly add up. And you have to take that consideration. You're going to have the adequate amount of storage in order to house all your equipment. The way it looks is because of this YouTube channel. You know, I wanted to have props, but they're more than props. They're actually things that I use. And in your case, you probably want to have a place for your cups, right? Where are you going to store your cups? Are you going to store it in the usual place that you have in your kitchen? Think about that. Think about other coffee gadgets that you do use, that you don't use. But you see, I have different cups for different reasons. I have another portafilter right here. I have some more gear, and this is more or so showing off my style. And then you also see some coffee makers. You see the mocha pot right here, the AeroPress. I use that from time to time, believe it or not. I have the April brewer, and then I have a slew of Hario V60s and a French press. And as you can see on the wall is that you have some art decor. This is a picture that I actually took, and these are some more pictures that I did not take, but they look cool. And that's some of the things that you want to think about too. You're trying to create a place that's yours, that's unique and special to you. And that's part of the whole coffee bar experience. Let's go ahead and move down and let's just see what other things that I have here. And I highly suggest that even though you may have a main bar, more dedicated bar, you also want to take in consideration probably some shelving at the bottom. And when this actual coffee bar was created by a friend, it was very important for me to have additional storage. So as you can see down here, I have more accessory knickknacks that I come to from time to time. I have some other stuff like a printer and some charging areas, and that's mainly because I wanted to maximize my space that I have here. You can also see at the bottom some extra pitchers, some servers. I even have a immersion brewer, a Bonavita right here. I believe they don't make this anymore. And then I have an extra kettle, and then also some other coffee gear. This took a long time for me to actually do, and I want you to take that in consideration. Don't try to get too envious of what other people are doing, because at the end of the day, you're on your own journey. You're trying to figure this thing out for yourself. It's very important that you figure out what type of coffee drinker are you? What do you care about currently? Where do you see yourself going with this whole, what's the best word to say? Hobby or obsession or whatever it may be to you. Think about where you think that you want to go. Because don't get me wrong, as you see this bar as it is right now, I did have a big massive grinder right here before. This bar was actually in a different place. So things change all the time. And you have to be ready and adapt to those changes. One thing I do want to bring up here is that this is a custom bar, and it was extremely important for me to realize what I was doing, meaning that I am 6'1", okay? However, I wanted the bar to be level to my waistline, because I know the way I work. I wanted to make sure that I'm able to do the things as natural as possible. If this bar was a little bit lower, I can probably make it work. But since I had the time and the ability to measure out, create the bar that I wanted, right now, currently, this is the way my bar looks. As you see to your right, you see a scale. And the way I actually operate is I'm here, I turn on the scale, I'm right-handed. So then I'm able to grab, just use this for example, a pitcher, and then I can put my coffee maker right here. And then I can make my coffee, and I'm right-handed. And that's kind of like the way that I like to do it. I like my scale to be actually off-centered, away from everything. I don't want it to be centered. Some people like it centered. They probably want it on the left side, whatever. You kind of have to figure out your scale. And again, this gives me the right amount of space, but you are probably limited to the space that you have. So realize that it's very important that you think about, like, where are you going to store things? How are you going to operate things? The grinder's right here. This is the way I like it. Here's the kettle. The kettle, I can see all the numbers and everything. I have no problems. I can always grab my filters right here. These are the regular filters. These are the fast filters for the Hario V60. Here's some water, for distilled water for my refractometer. And then again, this took time for me to get here. And as you can see, as we move to the left, it transitions for espresso side. Eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to be selling this and probably putting a Mr. Coffee machine. That's a discussion for another day. As you see, I'm always changing too. I'm always trying to figure out what truly really works best for me. Same thing here. Let's look at the espresso side. For now, just for space, because I don't do espresso all the time, is that here's how everything is set up. This is how I normally do it. Turn on the espresso machine. You could turn on the grinder, put everything in here. And this is the workstation for the espresso. And then I'm good to go. So I'm glad that I set it up this way, because it's kind of out the way. I don't use it all the time. But you have to realize that you are in a place to where you are the barista, you are the creator. Before we leave off, there are a couple more things that I do want to talk about. I believe it's important that you realize where you're starting from and know that for the most part, you're not going to end there. The reason why I'm saying that right now, we're going to use this as an example. Here's a Mr. Coffee machine. We probably have all started with this type of machine as we're going down that rabbit hole, either a specialty or just coffee in general. So now we're thinking about, okay, what else do we need? We need some filters, okay? We need a place to store our coffee. And then you probably want to have a cup or two right here on this bar. And this is a very small one. And I know there's many ideas and logics about what's the best way to go about actually getting your own ideal coffee bar. And truthfully, I've had many before I've had this one designed with a friend. It's okay to start small. It's okay to start with the kitchen counter. Best to start with just something. I know a lot of times people will say, buy once, cry once. That's true in most cases, but in this case, I believe that's not true. It's best just to get into the ballgame. See what you like about the coffee bar. Because as you see, this is not that far off from a bar that I started off with. The space is not that big. You have one or two shelves, so you can actually put some storage or some accessories on it. But as you use it and start to make your coffee, enjoy your coffee, and experience it, right? Start to think about the things that you do like about it. Think about the things that you don't like about it. And you start making a list, and then you start to look at different possible solutions, different coffee bars that do work for your situation. Because remember, this is just more so your starting place. This may be the ending place, but do realize is that you don't have to feel that you have to make these decisions as final. You're just enjoying and loving your coffee. We evolve and change too, just as we do in life. You may one day look up and be like, I don't care for an automatic drip machine. I just want to go balls in a wall with espresso, which is perfectly fine. Play around with a cheap, budget-friendly coffee bar and see what you like about it. And then you can start to look online, different places, different avenues. Then you can go to coffee bars, even ask them some questions, jot down things that you do like about it, taste different coffees, see if you do like espresso, see if you do like pour over, see what you don't like about different things, and then craft your bar around that because it's your bar. And that's the biggest takeaway. It is your bar. Think about what you care about, how you want to express yourself. And those are going to be the big takeaways. If you have any more questions, just let me know. This is just my bar. This is my take on going about crafting the ideal coffee bar for yourself. So, talk to you later. Bye.